You know,
I don't know
what
what
it
it
is, man. I don't
That's
know.
cool.
I think because we're so close to the camera.
Yeah, I think it is too.
It's like, I got it. Let's go.
Let's
I
do
got
this.
it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. Another episode of Behind the Pulpit. You are with your boy Maricus D. Ellis.
And Corey Spivey.
And we are elated to be with you all again. It is week 2, y'all. We are back. Season 2 has already kicked off to a great start. We got some great responses on episode 1, and we're hoping that this episode does just the same. Spivey, man, how you doing, man? First,
doing
that's
good.
that. Have a good week, man.
I did.
Good,
I did.
good,
What about
man.
yourself?
Man, awesome,
Good.
man. God has been good. As we kick off this season, remember last week we talked about what the direction we were trying to go this
Right.
year, and just how we want to enhance the church and want to grow the church, and how to figure out different ways to do that. Living in this society now, it's 2023. COVID is kind of still out there a little bit, but it's a lot better.
Right.
A lot of churches are getting back filled, and
Yeah.
ministries are going on. And as we go into this year, what are some things that you see in the current state of the church, where we are now, and then where we can go and where we are headed?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when you were talking about COVID. And I know that's been one of those things. It's like, man, when are we gonna stop talking about that? But
Right.
it's one of those things that had such a large impact on people.
Yes, sir.
Period. But
Yeah.
especially churches. And I think we're kind of in that phase now. I don't everybody, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but
Yeah.
you've always been out in public where you're having a conversation and you meet somebody that you haven't met before, and you can tell after a few minutes that oh, this person is socially awkward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable. And I
Yeah.
kind of feel like that's one of the current states of the church.
Yeah.
We're in that socially awkward point. Where do I want to shake people's hands?
Yeah.
Do I
Right.
want to speak?
Right.
Are we wearing masks? Are
Yeah.
we not wearing masks? Can we have events anymore? And I think a lot of people that caused a lot of division for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think we're in that phase where again we're kind of socially awkward, right?
Yeah.
And the churches that are not socially awkward are typically those ones who had a plan in place before COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
They were prepared for the storm, and so while the storm was hitting, while everybody was under the roof panicking, trying to figure out when the rain was going to stop, a lot of these church organizations and leaderships were planning for when we come out of this, we're going to be prepared. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
easy to tell.
Yeah.
But I think the current state of the church, again, is just being able to get out of that awkward stage of how do we move forward. And one of the things that I think we have to change moving forward is we have to be okay with change.
Yeah.
A lot of people coming out of COVID are doing the exact same things that was running them in the ground, right?
Yeah.
I think that if you were not too focused on the negative side of it, it could have served as a reset button, right? To kind of evaluate, over a year or 2 years, however long you were shut down, evaluate what was working and what was not.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we kind of overlook, because I'm staying afloat, I've been managing things for so long, we don't really pay attention to the things that weren't working, right? And so I think moving forward, we've got to get in a state of, again, being able to change. If your boat was sinking before, you can't go back to the old things.
Yeah,
right.
right.
If your numbers and your effect in the community was dwindling before, you can't go back to the same things, right? When we were down at the Preacher and His Scars, Brother Alvin Daniels talked about it. If the church shut down and nobody noticed you weren't there,
that's a problem.
that was a problem, right? And so coming out of it, a lot of places, I know this may step on some toes, a lot of places weren't supposed to survive that, right? A lot of people, you got a free pass to shut down, and take those talents to somewhere else, okay? Other people that made it through, we have to be able to make the changes that need to be made, okay?
For sure.
And what that means is, if you can, and they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results.
Right.
So the wise church has to look at what was working and what was not, what is currently working in this climate, and if it does not work, have the ability and the integrity to say, this is not working and we need help. And let's move forward. So that's where I think we are and where we need to go in the next couple of years.
It's like you said, taking an observation.
Yeah.
We have to do yearly checkups at the doctor, right? To make sure that things are going well,
Right.
even if we don't feel bad.
Yeah.
We go to get that yearly checkup,
Exactly.
to see what's going on internally.
Right.
Because going to worship every Sunday, seeing all the members there and doing things normally. Sometimes you miss what's really going on. So I think Thomas Rayner wrote a book called The Autopsy of the Dead Church.
Right. Yeah.
And one of the things he talks about in that book, before you get to that point where you die and have an autopsy, you need to have a checkup, right? You need to evaluate and see, like Spivey said, what's working and what's not working. So I think that's a powerful point, man.
And can I add
yeah,
this?
absolutely.
Part of knowing what's working and not working and what is not working means you have to ask the church.
Yeah. Right.
Because if you're sitting and now, and I've been blessed, I know you've been blessed with, our church leadership is very aware and very in tune of what's going on. But a lot of places don't have the wherewithal or the awareness to say, if I get in a room with the same leadership that put this ineffective protocol in place, I can't go sit down with those same people and expect a forward think, right?
Yeah.
You have to bring in some outside help when you begin to get stagnant.
Absolutely.
That's going to help you grow.
I totally agree. And having the courage to do that.
Yes.
Because I think that's a lot of people lack the courage to do that, to say, I need help.
Right.
I don't got it all together.
Right.
I can't figure out why this isn't working. And it kind of goes back to what you said last week. Like when we talk about success, you can follow that, you can see that, right? And you got to be willing to go out there and do that.
Right.
That's good. I think as well, when we talk about the perspective, my perspective on the current state of the church right now, I look at it like this, and I compare it to Acts chapter 8 with when the church got scattered, right?
Yeah.
It was due to a persecution.
Right.
The church probably would have stayed in Jerusalem.
Exactly.
But because of the persecution, they scattered and did what God had ordained them to do anyway, which is go to Judea, Samaria, and othermost parts of the world, right? So I think what COVID did is that God used that, possibly, God used that to get us to a space where the church goes outside these four walls, right? I tell you, when COVID first hit, I forget the exact number, but there was, you scrolled on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever, preaching. The gospel is going forward.
Right.
That's all you said.
Yeah.
Never had that before until COVID came in, and now we're seeing the gospel is going out beyond the four walls to the uttermost part of the sea, right? So my take on right now in the state of church, I think we're in a good place to do kingdom ministry.
That's true.
To go, above and beyond what we've ever been before. So I think we're in a great place for that, to continue to do kingdom work, to evangelize, to go forward and plant the seed, not only, like I said, in our local context, but just all over.
Yeah.
I was sharing with Green Meadow a few weeks ago in our meeting and planning for 2023, how the quickest way to do evangelism now, it's not door knocking, right? That's not. The way to get in people's home today is how? Social media, right? On technology, on your phone, right? That's the quickest way to get into someone's home today. So, I think using those methods, not being afraid of it. I know, we all have our tradition and things that we're used to, but using these methods that we have now, not changing the message, not changing core doctrine, but using different methodologies to get the gospel out. I think God has put us in a position to do that.
Absolutely.
So I think we're in a great position right now. That I think it's church is in a great state to do great work for the kingdom, man. For sure.
I can see that. And when you're using social media, and not just social media, like as we talked about, we're in a great place because I think more people are realizing now, I don't have to be that deep, that educated, that equipped, that trained to do ministry. Right. And I think, again, being able to be flexible and creative during the pandemic is what brought a lot of people in, right?
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I think that's great. But, social media is just one of them. But as the church begins to grow in 2023, what are some things that you think will help us get to where we need to be moving forward?
Well, definitely, using that social media piece effectively. Staying current, staying up to date, with your local church, a good live stream, all of those things, definitely. But also just growing deeper in the scriptures and being more authentic. I think our generation, man, that's what we're really looking for. It's authentic Christianity. So we're not just preaching about going and feeding the homeless. We're literally getting up Saturday morning going to feed the homeless. It's not just being preached anymore. That's not enough. We need real life ministry. I think is what right now in 2023. If we want the church to grow, we have to get in a place where we say, okay, this is real. Let's really get down and start living like Jesus, walking like Jesus, talking like Jesus, doing those things to the least of them. As Jesus said, if you do it to them, you're also doing it to me. It's not just Sunday morning preaching. It's not just coming to worship. Our lives for living for Jesus is a daily, consistent lifestyle. It's a practice. It's not just Sunday morning. It's not just Wednesday night. So I think if we're going to grow in 2023, we're going to have to become authentic and be faithful to the ministry and to what God has called us to do. And like I said, not just coming to worship on Sunday and Wednesday night and things like that. It has to go deeper than that if we want to grow in 2023.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that. Like, that's kind of like the bare minimum. At this point, it's just checking off the boxes. I agree with the authenticity, but also for me, we have to get more people involved in evangelism, right? And not from a perspective of I'm going to stand in front of, and this may be the starting point, right? I'm going to stand in front of the congregation and I'm going to preach on, hey, we need to spread the gospel, but also creating more opportunities, right? Like, back in the day, right? And maybe even some people still do it now. When it was door knocking, there was, okay, we may have a gospel campaign at the church, but then we're going to give people the opportunity to go out with us and door knock. I think those outlets need to be opened up for people to say, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm interested. You got my attention on, we need to evangelize. But what's there, right? Because if we're just being honest, a lot of people are, if I'm someone that's sitting in a pew and is not attached to anything, the chances of me starting my own ministry are not very high. Right. So what we have to do as ministers, as church leaders, is take the initiative and create these outlets. Whether, again, if it's on social media, if it's doing, like you talked about, going out and feeding on Saturday. Hey, listen, okay, we'll talk about this, but it's not just I'm going to preach, hey, everybody go out there and let's go. No, let's create some avenues for us. And as you create more and more avenues for us to use our gifts, and that would be my second thing, teach the people that are maybe not in ministry positions how to use their gifts to get into ministry.
Absolutely.
Right? Whatever that may be, whether it's singing, whether it's social media, whether it's marketing, whatever it is, if people can take their individual purpose and impact people, right, with the ministry, I believe it makes it a lot easier. It runs a lot smoother. Because if I'm a person that's sitting out in the pulpit, in the audience, and I don't have the ability to publicly speak, and my only way of evangelizing is gospel preaching from the pulpit, the chances of me doing that are not very high. But if I can water things down, make them very easy, very simple, very easy to access, very practical, then it's easier for me to evangelize. And we've also sometimes got to redefine evangelism. Right? Evangelism isn't always knocking on the door, handing out a couple of packs and tracts and saying, hey, read this, and if you don't, you're going to hell. Right? That's stale. We can't do that anymore. So our evangelism moving forward, if we're going to be effective and grow to 2023 and beyond, our evangelism also has to become more natural. If you think about, you watch people that have conversations out in the open, right? Whether you're at the mall, the coffee shop, anywhere, right? These conversations happen smooth, right? Whether, especially as guys, one of the things that we can talk about anytime is what? Sports.
Exactly.
Right? I can see, you know what I mean? The Ravens logo on your shirt. Hey, you're a Ravens fan, I'm a Titans fan. Let's talk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we can have a good conversation. I think we have to be able to do that when it comes down to our evangelism. Right? I'm not going to slap a Bible on the thing and, hey, are you saved? You remember the Lord's church? Well, if you're not, let's get up. Hey, how you doing today? Right? Can I take that sports conversation and be okay with that sports conversation just being a building of rapport?
Yes, sir.
Right? Can we meet in 2 weeks and talk about sports again? Can we meet in 4 weeks and talk about sports again? And maybe down the line, hey, man, what made you really come over? Well, listen, my Lord loves people. I do too.
Yes, sir.
And just make it natural. Stop being so pushy. Now I'm turning this back over to you.
You're good.
Stop being so pushy.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody likes the pushy car salesman.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
No.
It doesn't make you want to. I don't like to shop at, and I won't call them out because marketing making on. There's a specific shoe store I don't like shopping in.
Yeah.
Because the second you walk in is, hey man, can we help you?
I'm not
hey,
buying.
I'm not buying. I don't want to buy nothing. Let me shop by myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let people live, right? And stop bartering people. Sometimes we can get annoying in our evangelism.
Oh.
Our evangelism has to become more natural. Because if you get on my nerves, I don't want to hear about the guy. Because he
Yeah.
might get on my nerves too. Right?
Yeah.
So making
I
our
feel that.
evangelism easy and more flowy.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think our discipleship, man. Matt Dabbs said this. You know Matt Dabbs, and
love Matt Dabbs,
yeah,
man.
awesome. Matt, you're awesome. But Matt said that we've gotten to a place where we've taken Matthew 28 and have gone to say, as if Jesus said, go and plant churches, or go and grow churches.
Yeah.
That's not what he said.
Right.
Go and make disciples, right? And I think we have to get back to that. We have to, and for some of us, we have to get to it. It ain't even back to, because some of us ain't even never been there. So we have to get to that position to fulfill that great commission of making disciples, and it comes through having those everyday conversations. I just had one, and I thank God, and I prayed about this with my barber.
Yeah.
We had a conversation about Jesus and about Christianity, and that he brought up.
Wow.
He knows I'm a minister, but I mean, when we go, it's cool, it's lax. It's kind of, we've had a couple of conversations, but last week was like really intense and deep. And he shared with me, how, he was looking at other religions and how he wanted to be involved in other things. And we just got to talking about Jesus. Right. And it's moments like that God can use to bring people closer to him.
Yeah.
Moments like that, you can impact people, just planting that seed. I see him every other week.
Wow.
Look how many opportunities.
That's a lot.
I mean, every other, I'm seeing this man, we're meeting inevitably almost every 2 weeks, because I'm getting my haircut, every 2 weeks. So I'm seeing this man twice a month, and think about, we can talk about Jesus for 30, 45 minutes while I'm getting my haircut. Easily, man. And we got to talking about Jesus, and it was awesome. So like you said, Spivey, getting back to a point of truly evangelizing, truly making disciples. I think that's going to affect the church growth in the upcoming years, and if we don't do it, that's going to be evident too. That's going to show itself. It's going to reveal itself as well. But if we do that, I know it, because the scriptures teach that. So I know the church is going to grow. I know that more people are going to go out and make disciples. And like Spivey said, on your job, whatever your gift is, wherever God places you. And I think that we got to change that perspective too. God puts us in positions. He puts us in certain jobs, in certain places to bring the kingdom to that place.
That's right.
That place, that place could be, the worst place ever, but you're there to bring the kingdom to that place.
That's right.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. It's our job to bring the kingdom to that place. So on your job, at your kids' sports events, at wherever, it's opportunity to tell somebody about the goodness of Jesus, right?
That's true.
So I think to see the church grow, that's what we're going to have to do, man.
Man, before we go to our last question, that uncomfortability with evangelism, I think, is what messes us up. It's kind of like you talked about. When I'm in that position of bringing the kingdom there, it brings too much attention to myself. Yeah. And so that's another change we have to make. We have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah. Right? We have to be comfortable with what you're talking about is our lampstand. Yeah. Right? Whatever lampstand God has put you on. Yeah. If people are staring, why everybody looking at me? Yeah. Because you're there. You're shining the light. And light draws attention, especially when you're in the middle of darkness.
One of the things that I hear a lot, and you probably do too, is young people in the church, right? Young people, whether it be, Gen Z or even, people use the term millennials. We're constantly hearing, young people need to be in church, or churches that are, demographics are like 50 or 60 plus, barely have any young, we need to get some young people in here. We need to, that's how the church is going to keep going, right? So what are some methodologies to to reach young people today, to reach our generation, to reach the millennial generation, and even those that are coming behind us. Because you have to think about, there are some children that when COVID hit were 1 or 2 years old and never been to church.
That's true.
And now here they are 3 years later, they're 5, 6, and don't know nothing about Jesus, right? So we're thinking about that. We're raising a generation that kind of don't know God.
That's true.
And we've seen that happen biblically as well, right? So what are some methodologies? What are some ways to get the gospel to young people and to build an affinity for Jesus? I think that's not for church. Not for just coming to worship on Sunday, not just Wednesday night, but for Jesus.
Right.
Because the only way they'll sustain in their Christianity is if they have an affinity for Jesus.
I see that.
Period.
Yeah, as a first year educator, that I'm in an environment with a lot of these students that they don't have a connection to Jesus.
Yeah.
Right. And we're talking about, I teach high school.
Yeah.
We're talking about 14 to 18 years old. These kids, they've never heard of anything. I've got kids that can flip open and find Genesis, but if you ask for the second book, they're lost. So one of the first things that happened, I had a student that shall remain nameless, but on my first couple of days, he was sitting in my class and he was like, "Man, you know what? I know you're a pastor, ain't you? You're a preacher, ain't you?" And I was like, "If you want to call me that, that's cool. That's fine." He said, "So you gonna try to make me do this?" I said, "No, I'm not gonna make you do anything." But you're gonna try to teach me to do this. I said, "I'm not gonna teach you to do anything." but if I do this, then you're gonna come. And what he was doing was profiling me. And I'm not gonna make you do anything. Right. And over time, what I really did was, instead of forcing things down his religious throat, I just listened to him. Right. And so that's one of the first methods that I would say is figure out what children are going through. Figure out what young people are going through, because sometimes we can't make the connection because I want to do all the talking. And I don't want to do any listening. Sometimes in order for me to meet your need, I have to know what your need is first and not assume I know what your need is. That's what's wrong with young folks now. Do you really know that? Do you really know that? Or is that just something you gathered? You assumed that would be the plight of the young people. And sometimes it may be. Right? But the first thing I would say is listening to them and figuring out what's really going on without any intentions of judging or saying anything back. Right? Build a rapport and a relationship with them first to figure out, again, where are you and what exactly do you need? And then once I can meet your need, right, I can then begin to try to walk you closer and closer to Jesus. That's one of the first things. The second thing that I would say is we have to, because like you said, look, these children know a lot more than previous generations have ever known.
Seriously.
Okay.
Seriously.
So a lot of times they can outthink you. Okay. But not only that, these younger generations, these younger kids now, they can read through nonsense. Okay. They can read through it. Okay. So if you're not portraying or living the things you're trying to teach now, they're going to see through you and they're going to call you out on your hypocrisy. That's part of the issue.
Yes, sir.
But one of the shifts we have to make is shifting from focusing completely on a church structure over people. Okay. And when I say a church structure, I mean from an organizational standpoint. I've had a conversation with a couple of people about this, where the most important thing to a lot of people in evangelism is the church building. Right? Our programs, our budget, our performance that we put on Sunday, that's the most important thing. And when that is your main focus, people get swept under the rug. Okay? It means that you have to make the shift from church tradition and church systems and doctrinal cycles. It's not. I'm not saying we put any of that away. But what I'm saying is that can't be the number one priority, and then call that discipleship. Okay.
Right.
That's not it. Right. You cannot value your systems more than people. Right. So the shift we have to make: value people first. Okay. And what that looks like is when you don't get aboard, okay, with how I want church to be ran, I don't disperse of you. if I say, listen, well, if you're not going to get with what I have going on, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want you in my congregation, I don't want to evangelize with you, then you're no longer preaching to people. You're no longer evangelizing to people. You are trying to uphold your church organizational structure. Okay? Which cannot be done without people. Okay? So you have to love people first, and then we can talk about bringing in some organization. So love people first. That's the most important thing I would say.
Hashtag that. You can't value your systems more than you value
that's
people.
So true.
That's a word, man. No, it's not. And I mean, and you took the words right out of my mouth when you said basically an authentic Christianity. I mean, walk the walk, because this generation is going. They are going to call you out, no doubt about it. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. Walk the walk, live the life. You know, don't be telling them that they need to be in church and you not going. That just ain't gonna work. So live the life, practice what you preach, what you're trying to instill in them, and keep it about Jesus. I think that's what you said as well. Not valuing the system more than people. Keep it about Jesus. And with that, let me make it clear. You know, with that, of course, the church is going to be included in that. You know, we understand that. But when we talk about, you know, the organization and just, you know, and a lot of things that are just, you know, minor when it comes to, you know, building that relationship with Jesus. Just keep it about Jesus. And like Spivey said, do all things in love. Be patient, because discipleship is a process. It's not. And I think that's one of the things where we've gotten messed up too is, you know, we preach a sermon on Sunday. Somebody is affected by that sermon. They come up, they want to give their lives to Christ. We've done our job. We feel, you know, we think we've done our jobs, right? But we haven't. It's a discipleship is a lifestyle. Where the early church, they lived together, they ate together, broke bread together, fellowship together. It was a consistent lifestyle, encouraging each other to continue to walk in the truth, to abide in the truth, right? So that's what we have to do today. And I think we have forsaken that. It's like, once you become a Christian, you know, you're good. We don't have to, we don't have to visit each other. Right. I don't have to call you. You don't have to call me. I'm going to see you on Sunday. That's it. That's not it, you know. And I think our churches are suffering from that model of saying, hey, you know, I'll see you next Sunday. No, how about you call me on Monday, you know, to see how does the sermon affect me? How am I going to apply that to my life? You know, how about you ask me to dinner on Thursday, you know, and let's go talk. Let's go, you know, let's go and enhance, edify, and build each other up, right? So I think, you know, and as we wrap it up, again, summarizing and bringing it back to, you know, different methodologies to you know, to reach our youth for Christ and for Jesus. Like you said, to do all things in love. You know, love people more than you love the systems and tradition and things like that. Love people and be authentic in your walk. Walk the walk. Practice what you preach, and be patient. And remember, God gives the increase. That's right. That's something I have to tell myself. You know, we preach all these sermons every year, every week. And people don't come up and get baptized, and we're asking ourselves, are we effective? You know, and we have to remember that God gives the increase. So I think being patient and continue to plant that seed, then we'll see the fruit.
Hopefully, something that's been said tonight that you can use to make the shifts that you need to make in 2023 and beyond. Tag somebody in this. You know, your congregation, your leaders, your memberships, your friends, somebody you want to share the gospel with. Whatever the case may be, share it with somebody that way they can get some kind of information from the Spirit to be able to change their lives. Follow us on our personal pages, but also our overall page for the show, where you can get all information and all access to all of our content. And we also ask you to support and follow the preacher and his scars as they support and pour into us as well. Until next time, this is Corey Spivey.
And this is Maricus Ellis.
And this is Behind the Pulpit.